Hey friends, Jessica here. So in today's video, we're gonna do a quick little pattern makeover. So I'm gonna show how you can take a simple pattern, maybe you have some of these in your library, and spice it up a little bit and put a little color and a little fun in it with some Photoshop brushes and layer styles. So let's get started. Now, first of all, I saw this and when I was going through my files this weekend, I was trying to find some old works of art and I was using Adobe Bridge to flip through my files, and I found a bunch of black and white patterns, and I'm like, this is a good idea. I can show what you can do to make over a pattern and make it more interesting. So, and really we're not gonna have to draw anything, so that's the fun part. So I've got this basic black and white pattern and I filled my artboard with it. It's 1500 by 1500. And I just made sure, in this case, I rasterized it. But normally you don't really need to. And I'm going to add, first of all, I want to add a little gold layer style because I love some gold. And so I'm opening up here, I have in my libraries panel, I saved my 24 karat gold brush collection. And I'm also going to put a color fill layer behind it because I want kind of a tribal look. And so I'm putting this kind of brown taupe behind it. And what I like about the Creative Cloud libraries is you can just oops, we don't want to apply the layer style to that layer. You can just kind of flip through and see which one that you like. And so I'm just going to find one that looks good based on the size that I have here. And I like kind of how you have some highlights on this one. So we'll stick with this one. It's like 24 karat gold 12A. So that's cool. I like it. Already it's more interesting and it's more fun. And so in between these layers, I'm going to make a new layer. And in this case, I am going to use my Couture fiber brushes. And these are some really fun brushes that were actually inspired by Couture, inspired by kind of these really cool textiles that I saw on it was a Guopé collection. So it was really fun. And I'm going to grab brush number 6. I really like this, and I'll just kind of show on top what before I put them in place what I mean. But this is a cool brush, and if you recall, a couple of tutorials ago I had sampled some photos of an ocean, and I just really loved this gradient from the dark to the light of the ocean. And as you can see here, if you look in of this pattern, that's the one that I'm going to use because I loved those colors. I thought they were really beautiful. So I'm just going to go here and grab my pattern stamp tool. And then of course, when we use our pattern stamp tool technique, we pick out our pattern, and that's all going to have all the colors coming out of the brush. So I'm going to use that same palette that I already defined earlier, and I will link that down below. Make sure Impressionist is checked, and then I'm going to have my fiber brush. And notice that there's these like little, kind of squares that are formed by this pattern. So I'm just going to kind of do every other one, and I'm going to go like this. And as you can see, it's making kind of a cool, effect there. But I'm going to take this layer and put it below my gold. And so then I'm going to make sort of a checkerboard effect with that, using these little quadrants that are kind of defined by this pattern. So this is already looking pretty cool. So we're just going to fill these in, and I'm going to use the brush strokes going all the same way, because then we're going to add another element in going the other way. And it's not going to be perfect. Like I'm not worried about everything lining up perfectly, because I want this to have a cool kind of more organic effect. So that's good. Now I'm going to make one layer up above it or below it. I'm not really sure yet. And I'm going to grab fiber brush number 8. And then I want kind of a neutral white kind of color palette. So actually I'm going to refer back to my, I created a neutral palette around Christmas, and I'll link that down below because I want kind of that looks cool. I want a neutral sort of thing to contrast with my with these blues. So I liked how this had turned out. Let's see here. That's pretty cool. It seems, let's see here, my flow is normal. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna stick with this one. I like that. And I will have the color palette available down below. But yeah, I want that one. We've got the flow, we've got everything. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw some brush strokes across here. Let me see how that looks. Okay, that looks fine. And I'm gonna kind of space them out. I might take my brush size down. So just kind of playing as I'm going. I'm not really worried about everything being perfect, but I'm gonna kind of find a rhythm. So I'm lining this up with the bottom of these quadrants that I've marked out. And I think in the end, I'll end up putting these below the blue. That looks cool. Very happy with this, and you get this kind of rhythm going with your pattern, and I think that's really fun. You could just leave it like that if you want. I think it's cool. I love the color contrast, and you know, the warms against the cool. I think that's really fun and dimensional. And actually, I should probably make a cut, like maybe even a solid color palette out of this. I love it. But I'm gonna just take it an extra step further, and I'm gonna make a new layer above that. And I'm going to grab my Wet Paint Studio brush number 9, and I'm gonna do a little color. I'm gonna use that wet paint brush effect, but I'm gonna use it to drag some color and make something cool. So what I'm gonna do is, with a new layer on top, I'm going to drop out my color from that brush. So it comes preloaded with a color in it, but I'm gonna click on this toggle right here to drop the color out of the brush, and I'm gonna click Sample All Layers. And now I'm going to drag over these vertical, I'm gonna drag some vertical strokes. So with my shift holding down to make sure I get a nice straight stroke, I'm going to pull from the top, and that's interesting, but I'm not 100% loving this brush, so I'm gonna play around and maybe find another one. I think I had played with brush number 7 before. Now I'm gonna take the brush size down a little bit. This one will probably be cool, actually. So I'm going to drop the color out again, sample all layers. Okay, I'm gonna make sure, this is one thing that if you're pulling with the wet brushes from the outboard in, it's gonna do, Photoshop Forever has done this weird thing where if you pull from the outboard in, it's gonna pull some weird colors. So make sure when you make your first mark to make sure it's inside the artboard. And so I'm gonna hit shift, and now as you can see, I have these really cool blending colors going down. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here. And then you could just crop the edges, you know, so because you didn't get the blending on all the edges. This is kind of cool, but maybe it's a little bit wide for me. Maybe I want a little bit less of a thick, I want more of a skinny sort of blending. So I'm gonna try brush number 3. And yeah, as you can see, sometimes you just experiment a little bit and see which one works in the end. So I still don't have any color loaded in it. I want to make sure sample all layers is done. That's kind of cool. That has a smoother effect. So you can, like, if I push down hard, it's going to make it wider. But if I push down light, it's making it thinner. So that's cool. I'm just going to do a couple with that. And you know, you can just play around. I kind of wanted like a little bit of a rougher stroke. So I might play with a couple other brushes and make sure that I have sample layered. That's cool. I like that. It's like a little bit rougher. So you can just kind of go up and down. So, you know, you can play around with it until you get one that you just like, but it doesn't have to be perfect. But I think that's kind of cool. You know, you get the idea. You can make some cool different little backgrounds using this. And then when you use this method, if you use this like smearing technique, I would recommend to crop the edges a little bit because it doesn't go all the way to the edge. But then again, also I can turn that off, and I'm liking, I don't know, I don't know which one I like better. So you can let me know which one you like better. In this case, I'm kind of leaning towards the one without the smears, but I had done one kind of similar earlier. Yeah, this one's a little bit different. See, every time that I do these, they're a little bit different. Here's one that I did before. I'm going to put these side by side. Window arranged, 2 up vertical. So let me know which one of these you like better. As you can see, it's the same idea. This is my first one that I played around with. And in this case, I had covered more of the, more of it with the white. And actually, I think I had made some smears going across that way. No, just on the one. But I forget which brush this is, but I like this brush pulling effect more on this one. I think it looks cool. And let's see here, there's that one. And then I'll put the, let's get over to here and I'll put the brushing effect. So as you can see, I tried to kind of replicate the same thing, but in the end, it actually turned out different from the one that I had originally made. But let me know which one you like better, if you like the one over on the left of the screen or on the right of the screen. And of course, let me know if you have any questions. But this is just to show you how you can start with a pattern and do a complete makeover and make it really more fun, really exciting. And then also we are using a few brush strokes to give it a much cooler effect. We're using the layer styles and the paint pulling wet paint brushes. So you can just have a lot of fun with this and make some really gorgeous kind of surface pattern designs. And as you can see, we really didn't have to draw anything with this technique. So I look forward to seeing what you guys think and which one you like better. And let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments.